Hello YouTube and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Red Dead Online and we're doing another character guide, and today's character is Sgt Washington Wyatt from the 1997 film Buffalo Soldiers. Of course, this is Danny Glover's character from the film, and we're going to do our best attempt to look as much like him as possible. So that's going to mean his weapons, his outfit, hair and facial hair, and finally facial customization. So it's going to be just like all of my other character guides. So if at any point during this video you find yourself enjoying it, definitely click that like button, and of course if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, as it is the only way for you to stay up to date on all the content I release here, and also the only way that my channel could ever hope to grow. So with all that in mind, let's just dive on in and start off with his weapons. And so the first gun we're going to be imitating for him is a Colt single action army revolver, and so in the film he wields a cavalry variant of a Colt single action army revolver, which is the 7.5 inch barrel, I believe, and we're going to imitate that here. And so his appears to be pretty stock, blued steel and color case hardened, and so that's what we've got here. So you take your cattleman revolver, you put the long barrel on it, then you have your ironwood grips with the mahogany varnish on them. No carvings, no engravings. Of course, we need that long barrel for it to be the cavalry variant. And then you make your metals look just like this. Blackened steel for the barrel and the trigger, brown steel for the sight, the hammer, and the frame, and then blued steel for the cylinder. And this gives you a pretty factory finish and very, very typical look for a cavalry non-commissioned officer's sidearm at this time. So that is his sidearm. Let's move on to a long arm weapon for this character. Alright, and so for a long arm weapon for this character, we're going to go with what was the most common weapon at this time, especially for cavalry soldiers, and B, what most of the people in the film use. So that would be in real life, it was called the Spencer repeater. Here we have the carbine repeater, but it's the same gun. So you take your carbine repeater, you give it the improved rifling, improved sights, no scope, no wrap. Then we're going to want to have the mahogany varnish on your stock to make it look nice and stock, and then no carvings, no engravings, and you make the metals look just like this. So you do blackened steel for the barrel, the hammer, and the lever, brown steel for the frame and the trigger, and iron for the sight. And if you do that, it looks pretty much exactly like the ones we see in the movie, and also how it looks in real life. So those are the weapons associated with Sgt Washington Wyatt from Buffalo Soldiers. Alright, and so here we have the outfit, and now unfortunately what we're trying to do here is recreate a mid to late 1800s US cavalry uniform, and for some reason Rockstar hates the idea of players being able to do that. So we do not have any closed dark blue shirts, or what in their uniform was called a blouse, but basically the dark blue jacket that they would wear over the top of their shirt. For some reason, Rockstar will not add that to the game as an option, so we have to substitute and do the best we can. And I still think the outfit turned out pretty good and looks quite a bit like it. So let's go through the items that make up this outfit. So the first item we're going to be using is this clean, light tan or beige or whatever color you want to call that Cayuga hat. It's the last variant. It looks almost exactly like the one he wears in the movie. The brim is about the same. The top looks almost exactly the same. It's basically a perfect fit. Or at least as close as we could come to a perfect fit in the game. So the hat is this variant of the Cayuga hat. Then for the vast majority of the movie, he has a bandana around his neck. Of course, it's usually backwards, so like the tied part's in front, which is actually typically how a lot of people would wear these. But, you know, just to not to look like they were a bank robber, because if you wear it in front, it looks like you're going to quickly pull it up before you rob a bank, whereas a lot of them would wear it more like a neckerchief and would only pull it up if they needed to keep dust out of their face or something like that. But this variant of the pattern bandana, this sort of wore-out red variant, looks a lot like the one he wears in the film. So that is the neckwear. Then for the coat, like I said, unfortunately we do not have a nice dark blue closed one like they would wear and like he wore in the movie, but the closest we can come is this 8th variant of the hunter jacket. It's got a darker blue with the gold or yellow accents, which actually isn't terrible considering the ones they wore had gold buttons and, you know, and such. So this jacket is probably the closest we can come to imitating a, like I said, mid to late 1800s US Army soldier. So that is the coat. Then with the shirt, if you wanted to be realistic, a plain like white or dirty white Union suit or even one of the bib shirts would probably be the most accurate thing to wear. But since we don't have a coat that closes, I like to use this blue work shirt since it's sort of also dark blue and it kind of helps keep the uniform look of the jacket, so it helps simulate the look of a closed coat. So that's why I choose to use this shirt with this outfit. Then for the weapon equipment, since we're doing an army uniform, we're going to keep it nice and simple, and we're going to be using the agency gun belt, since, you know, the plain black gun belt is the closest we can come to actually looking like what they would be wearing. So that's weapon equipment. You could choose to add a bandolier to this outfit, a plain black or as close to plain black bandolier as you can, because of course these uniforms do typically have a leather strap going across the chest. I choose not to because I think it looks too bulky and the bullets hanging out aren't what theirs looked like. So the best way to imitate that, in my opinion, is to take your long arm weapon and string it across your back so that the strap goes along the front. I think that is better at imitating that strap than the bandolier is. So that is all for weapon equipment. For pants, this light blue variant of the clerk pants match his pretty much perfectly, and that is pretty typical of both movies and historical photographs from this time period, the pants being blue but quite a bit lighter than the blouse. And the reason for this, historically speaking, is actually a pretty interesting one. It's that a lot of times, especially if they were working or fighting in very hot climates, they didn't actually wear the thick blue, the dark blue blouse for the top. So a lot of times they would actually be, the pants would be much, much darker, much closer to that of the blouse when they were first issued. But since they wore the pants all the time and usually some sort of an undershirt and did not wear the blouse all the time, the blouse wouldn't get sun-stained or faded as quickly, and so that gives you the really light contrast from the pants. So an interesting fun fact there, historically speaking, they weren't actually like this when they were issued. Then for the footwear, the best option is the plain, clean black cavalry boots, and of course we're going to want to wear these Texas style because that's how he wears them in the film. And so that is my best attempt at creating Sgt Washington Wyatt. And now, unfortunately, like I like to come back to, Rockstar really should have, I mean, honestly, they should just have military style clothing from this period, because it would have been extremely common for people to be wearing it, and it's how you make a lot of these iconic movie and book and TV show and everything else, all these iconic Western outfits. A lot of them are wearing military surplus clothing because that was extremely common back then. Getting the materials to make your clothing, especially out in the West, could be very expensive. So oftentimes one of the most affordable ways to get clothing was to purchase military surplus clothing. Obviously, anyone that was in military surplus could leave with their uniforms and therefore had all this extra clothing that was military style. So Rockstar Games really should get their act together and add a big update with a bunch of military surplus clothing for purchase. I don't know why they don't, and it's very annoying. But this is the closest we can come to imitating his look from the movie. Like I said, the only big problem with it is the jacket. Other than that, everything else looks pretty dang good. So now we're going to move on to facial hair, and then finally we'll move on to the facial customization. All right, for the hair, we're just going to be going with the plain black short curly afro. I think it's probably the best or the closest one to his in the movie. And then for facial hair, we're going to be doing the plain black color on the Reverend beard style. Now, this is a typical problem with creating stuff like this. It's actually debatable whether or not the beard looks better because he has a beard, but it's quite a bit shorter and well maintained, so this beard is far too long and bushy. So you can either go with the Reverend or clean shaven with stubble. Like I said, the problem is clean shaven is just not close enough because he does have facial hair in the movie, so I think it looks better with the Reverend, but it's up to you. You go either way. And so that is the surface level customization, so you can see the heritage, skin tone, age, body build, eye color, and eyebrows here. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move through all of the custom sliders for all the other features to make it pretty easy for you to follow along and copy the appearance yourself. So let's just get to that. And so there you have it. Like I said, I think this one turned out pretty decent. I think my character looks quite a bit like Danny Glover. Like I said, the facial hair is really the only thing that's up for debate. I think it looks fine either way. Like, it looks okay clean shaven with stubble, and it looks good with the Reverend beard. But he does have facial hair, and I think it looks a little bit better with the beard. So that is all for this character. Like I said, if you follow all of those instructions, you should be able to pretty accurately imitate Sgt Washington Wyatt from the Buffalo Soldiers, and I think it will all turn out pretty dang good. So if you like this video, definitely click that like button and leave a like. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, or maybe even suggestions for future videos, go down to the comment section below and leave all of that there. And of course, if you like this content and haven't already subscribed, please do so now, as it helps the channel grow and is the only way you can stay up to date on all my content. But with all that in mind, thanks a ton for watching, and have a nice day, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you like this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.